Okay.
You do. What's up, everybody? Welcome to a Mortgage Coach Trust Engine Tuesday interview. Today we have the one and only Shayla Gifford. What's up, Shayla?
What's up, Dave? Hi, everyone.
Yeah, it was awesome. Was it just last week or was it the week before we did the Modern Mortgage Summit? It was
Week
the week
before last. I'm
Yeah.
still buzzing, Dave. I swear to you, and I'm not fluffing you. It was the best event in the mortgage industry I've ever been to. It was condensed. It was high energy. It was so content rich. I really think the fact that we speakers had to speak on stage and also speak in front of each other, and the fact that the market is so challenging, just had everyone bring their A game. It was so good.
Yeah, it was fun. I interviewed Coach Bill Hart about an hour ago, and he said the same thing. And I think it was just a lot of magic happening. I think, myself, Todd and Renee, we had our be the guide game, so we stayed in our lane. We had our avatar. This is not about us. This is about mortgage professionals and the people on stage. And then to your point, I think the energy you guys had to present to your peers, the tough market, everything you said, it was magic. So thanks for doing your part, Shayla.
Yeah, absolutely. Can people still buy? I know that I have access for 365 days because the type of access that we purchased with Guild, but is that something that people could still get even if they didn't make the event?
Yeah, no, you can still go to modernmortgagesummit.com and you can still get it and have access to it. So check that out, guys. We'll put a link somewhere in here. But let's really focus on something very, very big. I put a survey, a poll question in our group. About 60 people voted. Would love to see that over 100. So if you didn't already vote, go in there, and I'd love to know what you think. But it was, what's most valuable to you in this market? And the options were content. What content? What ideas do you want? What training do you want? And people said anything that helps me get new realtor partnerships. That was by far the winner. Coming in second was more referrals from current realtors. Now, coming in last, it was a tie between improve my conversion skills, mindset training, uncover hidden opportunities in my database. Those were all in a far last place. I don't know about you, Shayla, but I kind of felt like, well, if you want to get more realtor relationships, you need to crush mindset, you need to uncover hidden opportunities, and you need to have badass conversion skills. I don't know. Is that just me being crazy?
Yeah, maybe everybody's felt like they've been working on that over and over and over and over again. So they're ready for the next thing. But I agree, without those three things, don't even take a realtor meeting, for goodness sakes.
Yeah. So what's on your mind and heart? I know, I came up with a headline, you Shayla Giffordized it and made it something that's authentically yours, which I love that about you. You always take what you hear from others, what other people are talking about, and you really make things authentically yours. What do you want to bring to this audience today?
Well, I've got a lot of things on my mind. It's funny because in reflection from the Modern Mortgage Summit, I always think about what do I feel compelled to take action on? What do I want to do? What am I obsessed about? And it's really clear to me in this stage of my career, after 18 years of doing this and building a great origination team and then building a great branch and building great satellites, and it's now considered a district, and building a coaching program inside of Guild Mortgage and being a national coach. I am obsessed with helping loan officers. So I'm always thinking about anything that I learn. How can I turn around and teach it to a loan officer? How can I help people break through their current barrier? How do I help them get to the next level? And so I feel on fire right now, Dave, because I feel like my skill sets are really needed. Over COVID, for those 3 years, being a leader in this industry was interesting for me because I felt that a lot of people didn't feel the gratitude. We just felt the overwhelm. I'm going to die. Yet it was raining money. We're more successful than we've ever been. Our phones are ringing. We're able to help people. But it's now that we find that gratitude again, that we get back to celebrating the small things, that we get back to the skill building of what it takes to be a true professional. To make $500,000 a year in any industry, you've got to be a pro. You've got to have the character, the drive, and the skills to do that. And what I love always, and I say it all the time, but that this is an open playing field. It doesn't matter where you come from, what degrees you got, how long you've been doing this, who who your daddy is or who you're related to. Like, this is an open playing field where it's up for grabs for anybody right now to build a great foundation and a business that will explode in 2024. So that's what I'm obsessed about. That's my why. I always, remind myself that, I'm a crazy blonde chick from Reno, Nevada. I don't have a college degree. My parents were drywall contractors growing up. I never was very successful at making friends growing up or being cool. I've always been kind of intense. My parents were also super busy being entrepreneurs, and I didn't really feel like I got a lot of attention or, was seen unless I was really achieving. And so I don't think that I'm special. That's why I'm so passionate to say, if I can do it, you can do it. If someone out there can do it, if you could conceive it, then you just must believe it, and then you can achieve it. So that's why I'm here. It's why I love doing what I'm doing, Dave.
Well, one takeaway I have from every time I've ever interviewed you, seen you speak, just come into your aura is extreme authenticity comes to mind.
Yeah.
Like you make things yours, and you play big in your own way. Let's talk about being valuable, because I think at the heart of being attractive, whether it's getting more referrals from current realtors, whether it's creating new relationships and building market share with new realtors, it does come down to being valuable. And when I say that, you need to be more valuable than ever, what comes to mind?
Well, I think it always comes down to solving problems. I think right now, a lot of people don't even know what those problems are. Like you said, we do a poll, and what about lead conversion? And people are like, nah, I don't know about that, right? So I think it's the same thing.
It came in last, Shayla, like literally it got the fewest amount of votes.
Last. So I'll give you an example for builders. I've landed a lot of builders, partnered with builders, and for years, some of the builder relationships I have right now, I've had for 8-10 years. And, there's a difference between being a vendor and there's a difference between being a partner. And I always want to be a partner. Like, I want to be a partner to you, Dave, as your goals have shifted, as your role has changed, as your mission has evolved. I want to be somebody that's going to partner and add value to your life. Okay. So not just be a cool friend that sends you a gift every now and then and sends you an inspirational quote or whatever. Like, yes, that's important because I care about you and it's in relationship. But like, what is Dave up to? What does Dave care about? What is he on fire about? Or maybe what does he need? And how can I plug in? Because much of what you need, I probably can't plug into, but there's always generally something that is within my talents. It's in my strengths. It's in what I'm doing on a daily basis. So for example, with builders, there's a point in time where builders need a loan officer who can help drag in traffic. Okay. They're not getting traffic through the door. They need realtor events. They need their flyers and quick move-in delivery homes sent out to their database. They need a loan officer coming out to their model homes and doing, video reels and posting that, and getting it shared in the community. That's what they need. Then other times, they don't need that at all. They have so much traffic. They need a loan officer that can pre-approve people for a year or 2 years out and maintain, a TBD or hot shopper or priority interest list for 9 months that has 80 people on it with active pre-approvals. And as interest rates change and as the prices move up and down, how do we maintain this asset that they've built, which is their interest list? Other times they've got, maybe a smaller interest list, but they've got a ton of active escrows, and their escrows are 6 months, 8 months, 12 months out. And they really need help with customer service. They've got subcontractor delays. They've got pricing increases, whatever the case is. And now they need a lender that can really communicate, build relationships, and keep that buyer from being super pissed off at the closing. Because most builders are on the hook for 10 years after that house closes. So that's what they need, is great escrow management, closing on time, closing smooth. And then other times they need help with coming up with creative loan products, your builder forward lock commitments that we're doing right now, extended rate locks, 2-1 buy downs. They need help getting creative in terms of their advertising and telling the story that they're telling. They need help training their salespeople, right? So I'm giving an example of one builder and all the ways in which I've been needed or I've seen the need over years, and it's changed. But if I were to ask Dave, a builder, why do you want to have a preferred lender? Their version might be very different than mine, right? So I remember one time asking a builder in a meeting, hey, why do you want to have a preferred lender? And he goes, I guess I really don't care. It doesn't really matter to me. And I'm like, okay, good to know. Because I could offer all of these services and do all the things that I do and build a team around it, blah, blah, blah. But if you really don't care, you're not going to be the partner that's going to help convert the deals for me. But the reason I see you needing a preferred lender is because you've got risk, you've got liability, you've got reputational risk and happy customers that refer you people. And right now, you've got escrows that are taking 8 months. You need a lender who's going to be really good at actively pre-approving people, keeping them pre-approved, underwriting them 3 or 4 times, and having a happy customer at the end of it. Here's how my process helps you do that. And, on and on and on. So to me, Dave, I think I've got to be valuable, and then I'm really good at asking questions and listening and understanding the overall market landscape and just also how business works. Because the reality is everyone's always having a struggle in business. And the minute that I realized that is the minute that I got less intimidated to approach any business person, whether it's a CEO of a big company or, the head of a small real estate team. Everyone's always having a struggle. And if you want, I can go into those 3 areas, Dave, because that might be interesting.
Yeah, let's do that. But I want to anchor what you just said in an interview. Guys, this was my first interview of the year. And one of the reasons why I invited Sean Kaplan to be at the Modern Mortgage Summit, I did this interview literally, I think it was like 2 days into the beginning of the year. And it was a big idea to help builders sell homes in 2023. And it's only an 18-minute video. I want to push everyone to watch this. And when you watch this, I want you to think 2 things. What he did helped him win a builder. And by the way, this is a builder that he had a personal relationship with for 20 years, someone that they were friends, and he never got a loan from him. And here it is at the beginning of 2023, and he got loans. And you know why? Because he figured they had a bigger problem than ever before. And he created a MortgageCoach 2-1 buy down. And then the video he put in that was in front of a house that he knew was a tract that they were having trouble selling, that they did not have as many leads as they typically had. And he created a video in front of that house. So it was like a finance strategy that helps that builder sell that house in a really painful time, tailored in front of a place where he knew there was pain. And you know what? He's now getting business from that agent. And so what I just described works with realtors, it works with builders. I assume you did not watch that video, but what are your thoughts on that strategy as a whole of identifying either a realtor or a builder, they have pain, and you come to them with something that's very tailored, video, seller buy down, or something like that? Any thoughts on that before we go to the next one?
Well, I think that's the point, is that what Sean did there was show that he is creative, that he's thinking out of the box, that he understands the challenge. Because at the end of the day, if you're going to refer me, Dave, now say you go, God, Shayla, I just talked to this loan officer and they're in Chandler, Arizona, and I know you've got a branch down there. And out of all the people that Dave, you are going to put your neck on the line and say, you know what, I think the right leader for you is Shayla Gifford. I'm going to refer her. You're putting your entire reputation on the line to put that referral together. Just like the builder is putting their reputation, they're actually putting their future revenue, their sale. So much more is at stake for these builders in terms of their carrying costs and everything else right now on the line in referring them to the lender. And is the lender going to do a mediocre job, or is the lender going to do an over-the-top amazing job? And what Sean demonstrated there is that, no, I think differently. I think creatively. I'm going to help people get out of their own way. I'm going to help people overcome their own objections and see the possibility to buy. That's why he got the referral, because they really felt that they were going to have a better opportunity to capture the sale because of his creativity and his expertise. But he had to be the one to understand that and show it to them for them to go, I get it. So I think that's the key skill set for loan officers right now, for any salesperson, for any business person, is to really listen for like, what is the challenge? So here's the 3 struggles. You're either having a sales struggle, right? Every business, and I don't like, you could talk about a wedding coordinator, you could talk about, Trust Engine, you could talk about a drywall company or a mortgage team. A sales struggle means you don't have enough leads coming through the door. The phone is not ringing. You don't have enough sales. That's a sales struggle. Okay. What happens is every business goes through a sales struggle at some point, and then they do things to generate business. They run ads, they go out and knock on doors, they go visit every project under construction and try to land contracts. They make cold calls, whatever it is. And then all of a sudden they get sales coming in, right? All of a sudden you've got 50 leads in a month and you're going, oh my gosh, now you have an operational struggle, meaning you cannot handle the sales that you've created. You're either understaffed, or maybe you don't have the process. Maybe you've overpromised and underdelivered, or maybe you had no idea that, these internet leads would take 18 follow-ups, or these, builder deals would take 3 or 4 underwrites, or, on and on, but you have an operational struggle. So the next struggle comes into a financial struggle, because generally to solve the operational problem, A, you can write a checklist. B, you can write out a systems manual and do more training and get more efficiency and better results from the same human capital that you have. It could just even be yourself. But often it requires an investment, which is, I need to upgrade my CRM. I need to invest in leverage technologies like BombBomb. I need to start putting my MortgageCoach TCAs out on social media, and I don't have time to do my social media, so I'm going to hire somebody to do this. But a lot of times to solve the operational struggle, it means hiring people, buying more equipment, investing in a bigger office space. So once the financial struggle happens, guess what? You go all the way back around the wheel again to a sales struggle, because now you've built a bigger thing that you've got to support with more sales. So then you go out and you hustle, because now you've got more people on your team, more overhead, and you get the sales going. And then all of a sudden, boom, you hit another operational struggle again. So it does not matter what business you meet with. If you don't get to the struggle, if you don't get to the challenge, what are we doing in this meeting? What are we doing? We're seriously just like talking about the weather and connecting. But if I'm really going to be valuable to you, Dave, I need to know, what is your mission? What are you going for? What do you need right now? Where's the challenge and the struggle? And then I've got to use my expertise, my process, what I know how to do, and say, where do I fit in? And that's what Sean did really well there.
Yeah. So I'm going to share a few thoughts I have from what was said and really tie a bow around this, be valuable in this market. Before I do that, get ready, because I want you to share some scripting on how to get the big meeting. So that's going to come to you in a minute. Any ideas you have on, like, how do I get the meeting with my dream builder or dream realtor in this market? But guys, here's the bow I want to wrap around it. If you agree, and I'm pretty sure everybody with common sense will agree, you need to be valuable. And to be valuable, you need to be a problem solver. That was one of the kind of the North Star in Dan Keller's presentation at the Modern Mortgage event. He talked about, in this market, we got to be the problem solver. I love what Kelly Zitlow said. It was the most provocative and bold call out for video I'd ever heard. She said, if you're not doing video, you're being selfish and you're playing too small. And so I was like, well, okay, got my attention. Shivani Peterson really got my attention when she said the best script is to, and she yelled at us all and goes to shut up and listen. So those are all breadcrumbs to being valuable in this market. And of course, if you're a mortgage coach, the way you be valuable is you use a total cost analysis to show advice on how you sell properties in this market. You use Sales Boomerang and our Trust Engine platform to make the case with realtors that I can get every loan out of your database and every loan out of my database and create more value than ever for folks. So Shayla, I love how you're playing with this camera. And now, wait, let me get like you. Now we're like this. There you go. There you go.
How do I get it to come back around?
I don't know. We're gonna try. There you go. It's around. No, there you are. You're back. Okay, hands off. Hands off. All right. All right, guys.
Just keeping people awake. I think that's
Yeah,
important.
and I want to remind folks, we have these little reactions at the bottom. If Shayla says something you love, give it a heart. Obviously, that was pretty funny. So you're getting some laughs, Shayla, some Zoom laughs. But you use those avatars because, people like Shayla and I, we like talking to an interactive screen versus an uninteractive screen. So Shayla, how do we get a meeting? Give us some, Shayla Gifford mojo on how you get meetings and then how you teach and train loan officers to get meetings with that dream realtor.
All right. So I think there's different levels, right? So I think I'm just going to go right to the realtor because I'm thinking about there's a realtor, there's a team lead, there's a broker, there's a builder, and then there's a business owner, like a CPA, financial advisor, what have you. So I'm just going to go ahead and start, guys, and talk about the real estate agent. Okay, let's do the basics. First of all, I think the best strategy that there is using a referral from somebody else to get an introduction. Okay, so we all have a sphere. We all have friends, families, past colleagues, business people we know. If you were to get married tomorrow, who would be on your wedding invite list? So especially if you're new in the business, this absolutely is what you need to do. And if you're a new realtor, this is what you need to do to actually create your prospecting list. Okay, you can either have a cold list, and a cold list would be simply, I'm going to go to MMI, I'm going to look at people's production, I'm going to go run the MLS, I'm going to go to every broker's website and just look at people's faces or go to LinkedIn or go to social media and write a cold list. Okay. And I'm going to warm those up by stalking them on social media, by showing up where they show up, by making a cold call. Okay. Great. That's absolutely effective. It works. I used to just drive around, and if I see signs in the yard, I would just make a cold call that said, hey, I keep seeing your name everywhere. I see how successful you are. I see you in the Homes and Land magazine. I see your signs out there. I've always admired your career from afar, but I've never gotten to meet you yet. And the reason I'm calling is because I know you probably have a lender and you're super happy and they're taking great care of you. But I've got a program that is helping people, with one-time construction close, or I've got a program that is great for first-time home buyers, which I know have been underserved in this market. I've got some bond loans. I have a 0% down FHA loan. Can I have 15 minutes of your time to come meet you? I just love to ask some questions about your successful career and share with you something that might be a niche program that you can land another deal or two this year. Would that be okay if I came to your office for 15 minutes? Like, those cold calls work really well. You can lead in with a program or product, or just say, listen, I want to see if we can find a way to make some money together. Okay. But what I like is a warm list. And the way you get a warm list is by calling, my dad has a drywall business, and calling his partner and saying, hey, listen, Mark, I haven't talked to you in a long time, but the market has really shifted. And I really need to partner with people that are actually hustling out there, that are professionals, that are scrappy, that are really in tune with the market, and they're going to serve their clients no matter what. I know you've bought and sold a lot of real estate over the years. I'm wondering, what realtors do you know in this market? Who have you used in the past? He's going to say a name. And then I say, well, look, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate them? What are they good at? And then he's going to say, I don't know, they've just done a great job listing my properties every time. They keep me informed. I love the events that they host once a year, whatever they're going to say. But I'm writing that down. I'm writing down Mark, Nevada Drywall, referred me to Sally Smith. She's an 8, and he loves blah, 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 blah about her. Then simply, and look, you can make like 25 of those calls in a day. They're easy calls, because of course, at the end you go, by the way, Mark, how are you? Do you think you're going to buy or sell your house in the next year or two? I know people are really questioning that because they've got super low interest rates, but what's your game plan? Put it down in your CRM, figure out where he's going to be, put it on a watch list. If he's like, yeah, I really need to remodel my kitchen, my bathroom, whatever, but I don't want a home equity line of credit at 10% and I'm not ready to refi, start a watch list. There are so many people right now, guys, that hate their house. 65% supposedly over the last 2 years do not like the house they bought. They just had to finally buy a house after they got beat out so many times. Or they bought a house thinking they remodel and they haven't. So write that down. So I've now asked for a realtor referral. I've checked in on him and his house. And then the third thing is, hey, Mark, real quick, do you have brothers and sisters in the area? I forget. Yeah, I actually do. I have a sister and a brother. Listen, do they own homes as well? Yeah. I've got that killer software. I send you a home bot every single month and it gives you all the details about your equity and all the things that you did. Do you think they would value that? Because I really need to grow my reach in my database as well. Yeah. Hey, can I get your sister's cell phone number? I'll just shoot her a text and tell her you introduced me and find out her address and sign her up. Sure. Here's her number, right? Or do you have her email? Or would you make an email introduction? Or what's her name? I'll look her up. I'll find her on Facebook. So bottom line is, remember this strategy from Ed Milet, one more. There's always one more question we could ask. There's always one more call we could make. There's always one more push-up we can do. There's always one more to go deeper to make something more effective. So many of you are focusing on efficiency. How do I be so efficient? The reality is be effective. Make less calls, but make the call count. So many times I won't get off the call for 17 minutes because I will not get off until it was effective. Otherwise, I just waste 5 minutes or 3 minutes. And I don't like wasting time, period. So you first call all these people that you ask for realtors that they know. Then you call Sally Smith, the realtor. And the script is very simple. You just say, hey, Sally, this is Shayla over at Gill Mortgage. How are you? Great. Listen, you don't know me directly, but you came highly referred to me by a good family friend of mine, Mark Garrick. I love Mark and Christy and their family. And the other day we were chatting and he was telling me how great of a realtor you are. He loves your professional presentation, the way you marketed his properties, just, all the information you give him throughout the years. And he just raved about what a true pro you are. And listen, I'm sure you work with a lender relationship, but Mark insisted that I take you to coffee and learn about your business and see if there's a way I can partner up with you or find a way that we can make some money together in the next year. Would you be willing to allow me to take you to coffee? Can I book a coffee with you, Sally? Okay, so that wasn't smooth or polished, but bottom line is that most people will not say no because they don't want to look bad to Mark. They don't want that to get back to their client that Shayla called with enthusiasm and with compliments and was open and humble, and you shot her down. So that's how that goes. That's my favorite call. And teaching that to a realtor, you literally sit down with them and say, okay, you're going to get 25 names of business people. Who are the type of business people that would give you great referrals? Well, attorneys are fantastic because if an attorney says you must call this realtor and have a meeting, whether it's a divorce attorney, a will and trust attorney, or, just a basic business law attorney, usually they're not going to question it. Usually they're not going to interview 3 or 4 other realtors. They will just do what the attorney or the CPA or, the financial advisor says. So those calls are very similar with a realtor. The realtor calls, their buddy from high school. Hey, Luke, this is Shayla over at Gill Mortgage. Old alum from McQueen High School back in '99. Do you remember me, Luke? Oh, yes, Shayla, of course I remember you. Hey, listen, I'm making random calls, but that's because I am really hustling and growing in my business. And I need to partner with some really good professionals that really care for their database, that help people build wealth. Do you have a great CPA in the area? I really need to find a good CPA I can refer people to. Yeah, my CPA is Scott Gascoigne. Okay, amazing. What do you like about Scott? How long have you known him? Blah, blah, blah. And do you have a financial advisor by chance? Yeah, Sally Smith. Oh my gosh. I think I've heard of her. Tell me about her. How long have you worked with her? Is she great at what she does? Yeah. Well, listen, I'm going to give these guys a call and tell them you raved about them and see if I can set up a meeting and see if they'd be great partners of mine. Is that cool? Yeah. Oh, by the way, Luke, what's up with you? Do you own a house? You thinking about buying or selling? Do you like your house? What's going on? And then you have that same conversation, right? Are you thinking about remodeling? What's going on? And then finally, do you have any brothers or sisters? If I feel like I haven't exhausted him and the conversation's going well, I might ask for 3 things in one call. And this is a realtor. Oh, that was me playing lender on a realtor call, but you guys get the point. How'd I do, Dave?
Oh my God. So I may create some micro content around this because there was so much strategery and like, I think, your first script, which was a complete boom, maybe it was a minute. I mean, it for sure wasn't 90 seconds. And I think it was more than 45, but I mean, there were like 5 or 6 ninja moves just, that you did within that anyone listening to this, like stop the time, go back and re-listen to this, think about the conversations you're having in the marketplace. And if you're not adopting all of the strategery around what Shayla just did, I mean, it was gold. And then also I want to make sure everybody pulls that she's going out and finding the problems. In previous years in the business, it's been volume markets where how quickly and efficiently can we get someone to give us their social security number, and how quickly and efficiently can we put that through a mortgage experience, a transactional mortgage experience. Guys, that's not the market we're in. And 63% of all mortgages in America start with 2% or 3%. That's not the market we're going to be in maybe ever again. For my 37 years in mortgage, rates have gone down. My first year, they were at 10. They've gone down to 2. 63% of America refinanced. And by the way, 80%, it starts with a 2, 3, or a 4. And rates are at 6 and 7. So going forward, you need to think like Shayla's thinking. You need to execute like Shayla's executing. I love that start the watch list. My mom, my parents got divorced. She was a single mom. She got into the insurance business and she did something called X dating, where that's what they were doing, is just calling people. And the goal was not to sell them insurance. It was to find out when their insurance policy was coming up. And we in the mortgage business need to follow that play and start building a watch list of families that don't love their home, that we understand when it makes sense for them to move up, move down, move sideways. We need to be creating a watch list of families where there's a first-time home buyer in this house. And we're bringing that, like we're the one giving the idea that, hey, have you ever thought of helping your kid get a duplex or house hack when they go to college? Or, hey, I'm looking at, the age of your kids and I'm looking at your financial situation. And have you ever thought of blank, blank, blank? And it's a strategy to build wealth with real estate. It's a strategy to help the next generation get into the home ownership game. And so, guys, that's another reason, like at Trust Engine, we are obsessed with how we use data to identify that there's a first-time home buyer in this house, or there's a family that could optimize what they're doing, and then to deliver advice. Like if you cannot deliver advice going forward, I really don't think you're going to gain market share. So by the way, Shayla, we're at like a little past halfway point, but what are your thoughts on, like you started adopting MortgageCoach. What's it been, like 4 years now? I don't think it's been more than 5 years since you advocated at Guild to get MortgageCoach, and really, what about four years?
Yeah, 4 or 5 years. It feels like forever, Dave. And having a relationship with you has been so enriching in my life. The introductions that you've made, the way you've poured into me, the way you've led by example has been, you are just unbelievable gift to all of us. And I know you don't take those compliments well, but I hope you just receive it. It's been
well, and I appreciate it. That was nice.
I will tell you, I was on a conference call with Wally last week. And I think one of the cool things that a lot of us are doing is trying to say, like, how can we actually go deeper and teach? I know I talked about this on the Modern Mortgage Summit. I'm got to teach more Shayla shit. So I'm doing the first
podcast, Shayla shit. I said the podcast coming. I'm kidding.
Is that the name of my podcast someday?
I don't know. It would be fun.
Yeah, but I'm doing a 3-part webinar series. I'll just plug for that for a second, starting on Thursday. I think it's 10 to 11:30. I'll actually put the link in here so that you guys could go check it out. I'm talking about a totally different subject. I'm talking about like, why are you losing deals? Do you understand business models in the mortgage industry? Do you understand margins, price, and cost? And how do you get out of this place of drifting, of questioning yourself, of questioning your value, of questioning the industry, of questioning your company, of questioning the model, and kind of being in the dark? Because let's be real, if you're going to play like a ninja and have strategy and win right now, like you've got to know the game you're playing. You've got to know the field. You've got to know the players. And once you have conviction about who you are and what you do and what you're playing, game on, right? Because not every client is your client and not every realtor is your realtor, but you've got to know for you what it is you're building. And that confidence is so attractive. And so anyway, I'm going to break it down. I've just realized a lot of people don't know this stuff, even folks that have been around for 15 and 20 years, because we haven't had to. So anyway, let me drop the link really quick.
And while you're dropping that, I have this thought that the people, especially when it comes to creativity around this industry and how to solve problems, the people that are new don't even get it. Like they got in the business post the meltdown, and it's been a 30-year fixed rate, no creativity market. They don't even get it. And the people that have been doing this, pre-meltdown, forgot it. Like creativity, curiosity, delivering advice has never been more important. I'm going to sign up for this. Thank you for the link. I'm going to check this out. I need to see what Shayla is up to and what your model is. Real quick before we go on to other topics, if you could just, speak to, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I think like 5 years ago when you became a mortgage coach and you guys rolled out Mortgage Coach, it was like a competitive advantage and it was a good idea. But I do think in this new era, I'm almost calling it I'm calling it the data-driven advice era, that if you want to kill it in mortgage, you need to be an advisor and not just kill transactions. You can't just kill it as a transactional loan officer. You need to kill it as a true uncover opportunity advisor. What are your thoughts on that?
Okay, yes. So I will tell you two things, because I'm always learning from my peers. And that's what I love about our industry. And Dave, I think you facilitated that a lot, how much we all just share with each other and we're an open book with each other. But I was on Wally's masterclass yesterday, and he was talking about how he's doing a mortgage coach. I believe he said every month to homeowners. And I'm not sure if it's every month he's doing a generalized one. So I want to get that from Wally. I'd love for you to do an interview on that. But at minimum as an annual review. And what I thought was so brilliant about that is that he will get somebody's mortgage statement and he can see if they've been prepaying their mortgage, and he can build that into a TCA. He can ask questions like, hey, is your income roughly the same? Are you still working at such and such company? And if they're like, no, I actually got a 20% raise, he could say, well, let me demonstrate, if you paid an extra $200 a month or $400 a month towards your mortgage payment, how much faster you would build wealth, where you would end up being in 3 to 5 years. By the way, do you like your kitchen? Are you happy with the house? Have you thought about a remodel? And he's building that into a TCA. So the difference for me, Dave, is that before I've always provided options, and I've always worked on educating just because that's how my brain works. But what I always did is, remember, we had those good old paper folders, and we had paper files, and we had files on our desks or in our cabinet drawers. Is I literally would flip the folder over and I would scratch out 3 options. I would say, okay, option 1, 30-year fix, 4.75, payment, cash to close. Option 2, 30-year fix, 5.25, payment, cash to close. Option 3, 30-year fix, 5.5, payment, cash to close. And then I would always come back to say, it's, based on what you've shared with me, based on the fact that you want to keep your cash to close at this, you want to put some investment into the backyard or the blinds or the shades or whatever the case is, I recommend this one. And I would circle it about 42 times. and it would achieve the goal for payment and cash to close. And they would go, yep, looks good. And that's how we would lock a loan. The difference between going from that to a TCA Mortgage Coach presentation, where I can see when they open it, I could see how long they viewed it. They can share it with others. We can be on a call and be sharing screens and be tweaking it as they're looking at it. is unbelievable. And one of my favorite stories is actually me talking to a client who was upset, who had locked his loan a while back, rates had fallen, didn't really feel like he understood why he chose the rates and fees that he did. It was for one of my loan officers, wasn't even my client, but I'm like, look, I'm going to just build this guy a TCA. I'm going to show him the historical rate sheet and when he locked. I'm going to explain what it means to lock in a rate that is like buying a stock. If you buy Google at 1,000 and it now is down to 900, you don't get to just turn it in and get it back at 900, right? And get him to understand that, and then go back to that rate sheet and go, hey, what option 1, 2, or 3? Here's the way you can do that. And to see the side by side of the cash to close and the long-term cost benefit and the break even, he was impressed to all hell. He felt like, wow, you really care about me. You listened to me. I don't even know if he made changes to what he did. I think he did. He ended up deciding to put more money down. And he was totally happy. So it's like taking a lemon and turning into lemonade. Now, even if you would have had a mortgage coach initially, it still is a great meeting point to be like, let's just have this blank canvas where we can have these discussions. So anyway, so many uses for the TCA. I rode in the cab with Scott Nicholson. I'm so stoked that he's been with Cherry Creek and now he's with Guild. And so I'm going to help blow up Scott. You made the introduction to me when we were doing Clubhouse all those, months or years ago now. And Scott Nicholson is a damn genius. And it's so cool to watch him on a TCA, hear the announcement, for example, about FHA dropping their MIP from 50 bips or from 80 down to 50. And him immediately going, okay, how do I explain this to a realtor and a homeowner on how you can use FHA to get an extra $35,000 in buying power? Or when maybe it makes sense to use an FHA loan versus a conventional loan. And he's doing all that on a TCA inside of Lender Launchpad. And I mean, just, cool stuff, Dave.
Yeah. Well, hey, by the way, congratulations on Cherry Creek coming to Guild, 2 incredible mortgage coach advice cultures. And Scott's a good friend. So we are getting into the bottom, 4th quarter of this interview. So anyone watching this on YouTube, we'll still answer your questions, even if you're watching the recording. If you are watching this in our Facebook group or in Zoom and you have a question for Shayla, sneak it in. I'll try to throw a fastball at her before we run out of time. So Shayla, I've heard you, and I don't know if anyone does this better, like I've heard you say state, story, strategy. And I think, well, I don't think I know, state is like that mind game, but let's wrap up this 4th quarter with state, story, strategy. Describe that for everyone. What's the Shayla Gifford version on those 3 words?
Yeah, and I could use that analogy for every situation. And I saw there's a couple questions in there, which is helpful. This is the kind of feedback that I want, guys. I want to know like where you're stuck. Dave, you doing a poll before we did this and saying, let's focus on what the people need and want. So state, story, and strategy is just everything. It's how we get through life. It's like, if I'm going to come home from work and be with my kids, what is my state? Do I check myself? Is my brain still going 100 miles an hour? Am I still solving that file that's on fire, or coming up with the next content strategy or whatever? Or is my state calm, focused, giddy, loose, playful, whatever it is that your intention is for how you want to show up? So how do you want to, how do you want to make people feel? Bottom line, like that is your state. And if you get on the phone with somebody, how do you want them to feel when they hang up? I just had somebody on my Instagram send me a message, Dave, and I haven't been in the core training for, 4 or 5 years since I've retired. And she was still talking about some of the stage presentations that I did. And she was talking about how vulnerable I was. Well, there's been times, as I've just bawled on stage, and I'm wide open. I'll tell you whatever it is you want to know. And I share a lot, but what resonated with me is that I haven't met this lady in 5 years, and she still feels so connected to me. And it was about the feeling that she had in that moment based on what I was willing to give, based on how I was willing to show up. And so like, how do you be more powerful and valuable? Just think about your state and your intention and how you're going to show up. Are you showing up grateful? Are you showing up hungry and humble? Are you showing up, like I said, playful, open-minded, curious? So often we come into stuff stressed out and our defenses are up, or we're only there to get, and our mind is going so fast because we need to like close, and we feel like we're wasting our time. So that's your state. And we know when we're off or feeling tired, like get some Wim Hof breathing, jump up and down, figure out ways to stimulate your vagus nerve, doing the thing, go take a cold plunge, whatever. Like no excuses, just figure it out.
Hey, real quick, before we go to story, I do want to call out, I've been working on my sleep game for a number of years now, and I noticed you were the R ring as well as I did. I'm not going to ask you I got an 85 last night, so I don't know if I beat you or not, but Josh Metal, everybody on this stage got to talk about whatever they want. And Josh, really poured into sleep and water, drinking lots of water. And thank you, Josh. I have upgraded my water game. And so before we get off stage, just a reminder to everyone in mortgage, it's tough out there right now, guys. This is a tough year. And I'm going to be interviewing Jeremy tomorrow. And the message is, this market isn't going to save you. You need to save yourself. Yeah. And you need to manage state and mindset more than ever if you want to gain market share with realtors. So anything you want to say on state before we rock out story?
No, but I was fortunate enough, and Jeremy's an old friend, but to have dinner with Jeremy before the summit. And we talked about his morning routine, and the first thing he does is drinks 20 ounces of water. So being around Jeremy has increased, I'm carrying around a big ass water bottle all the time and I drink, but still there's always a way that we can level up, and being around, driven, determined, high achiever people, you are who you hang around. And I think you got to save yourself, but you also got to keep showing up around people who are really playing the game and being competitive. And I think that's part of the strategy. But the story then, Dave, is like
real quick. I need to insert this because this is something I think it was a year ago that I started doing this, is doing athletic greens, because it focuses me to one, drink a big old glass of water and get my vitamins. So guys, check out athletic greens. I wish I was an influencer for that because I sold a shitload of it. But check that out, guys. Good success habit. It's definitely upgraded my game for the past, maybe it's 2 years that I've been doing it. So,
you know what? Thank goodness you're focusing on your sleep, Dave, and you're focusing on your water and your athletic greens, because you would not be able to serve the way you are if you weren't doing that for yourself. And let's talk about the second thing. You sold your company. You had an exit event. You could have literally rode off into the sunset, and yet I see you doubling down. And it's just, that is what's so cool. And are we guys realizing the people that we have around us and the resources? So again, that's your story. So the story is like, oh, this Dave guy, like, I don't know what, he's just always busy and maybe he's trying to sell something. Like, I don't think anyone would think that, Dave, but like, just listen to yourself. When you're scrolling social media and you might be having a judgy lens, or you're, Dave's favorite line, and I love this, is don't be bitter, get better. And so I was asking my team yesterday in a team meeting, like, what's caused you to feel bitter over the last, couple days in work, and how can you be better? And people go, well, I don't think I'm bitter, but, I get angry, I get resentful, I get stressed out. I'm like, okay, same shit, right? So forget about the word. The point is, when you lose, when somebody aches you, get better. And so my story is like, I'm grateful for the stub toe. If you don't stub your toe and go, oh, thank you, that is going to allow me to pivot. That's going to allow me to shift, add something to my checklist. We learn in pain. We learn in loss. Every time that I lose, I always win way more, because I get frustrated for losing and I get better as a result of that. So the question for you is, as your story, are you getting bitter and withdrawing and going in that route, downward spiral? This industry isn't great. My company sucks. Realtors are all lazy. Realtors aren't loyal. Like, great. If that's your story, I'm going to freaking smash you. Because my story is, hey, these realtors are hungry. They are brave. They are scared. They are lost. They need leadership. Like, that's my story, and this is your story. Like, game over. And it's just a choice. It's 100% a choice on the story that you choose about what you're going to do. I hate cold calls. Okay. That's a story. Or, God, I love connecting with new people and finding those people that are open. Great. It's right. It's just everything that you do, you could apply your story, your lens, your perspective to it. And it's going to change the way you show up and how you deliver. The third thing is just your strategy.
Wait.
Oh.
So guys, that was my number one takeaway from Shayla at the Modern Mortgage Summit. She actually said it's time to decide your story. And it was such a great opening because that was something that everybody on that stage was just so clear that they had decided their story and they had pivoted in the industry. Robin Lavasser was so rad, like her story was intense. This is a woman who had multiple people that were big in her life. She loved, she respected, they created lots of value for her, but they were like, you can't be a badass loan officer and be a mom, and she decided her story.
A mom of triplets.
Yeah. And I get goosebumps just thinking of how bold she is and how big she's played and how she's decided her story. And guys, anyone listen to this, this is one of those years, decide your story. And if it's mortgage, you need to be different than you've been in the past. I do want to say one more thing about story. You need to story sell. You need to decide your story and be within, but then you need to be telling stories around how you're solving people's problems in the market. Of course, total cost analysis is a great storytelling tool for mortgage professionals, but I think story is just so powerful. So strategy, what you got?
So then the strategy, my favorite way to build strategy is to ask successful people. Pure and simple. I said it on stage, R&D is my favorite delivery method. It's not research and develop. It is rip off and duplicate. Everything that I know how to do, everything that I've ever said. I saw Jonathan mention Zig Ziglar, Jim Rohn, Tony Robbins, many of my coaches and mentors I've hired throughout the years. Find somebody who has what you want, do what they do, and get what they've got. So Dave, you've been married a ton of years. I would ask you questions about having a successful marriage. You've raised 2 incredible kids and you've also put them through Waldorf and done all kinds of alternative education. I'm into that. I want to be open and looking for those strategies, but ask people who are succeeding, ask people who are currently have the right state and story right now. I can't stand anything more than like, well, I remember 18 years ago when I did 100 million. It's like, good for you. But what are you doing right now? And what is your story right now? Are you showing up? Because those are the people I want to play with. The other thing is pick a strategy and just be consistent with it. We've always taught the theme days, right? Monday, you call realtors on Monday, at least an hour. Do at least 1 hour of calls every day where you're prospecting, your green time, you're booking appointments. It's the whole point of making calls, okay? You could do 5 hours a week of calling your database and building a warm market list of CPAs, financial advisors, attorneys, and realtors. And do that for a week. And the next week, spend 5 hours calling those realtors and business people and booking appointments. And the next week, call your database. Or start building the list. On Monday, you call realtors. On Tuesday, you do Tuesday update and pipeline review calls with all parties. On Wednesday, you call your hot shoppers, all your TBD buyers. On Thursday, you go back to your 90-day lead list and you call leads like a maniac every single Thursday. And on Friday, you call business people or your VIPs. And you do that every single week. Guess what? You've got a multi-channel business that you're creating. It's the same thing if you're going to be on social media. Somebody asked me, how do you come up with the content? How often do you record it? Right now, I'm very limited in my content, as you guys probably see. I'm just doing reels only, and I live in my story. But I have a videographer that flies into town. He actually created a local studio just for me and my crew. He's out of Arizona. And we meet for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and we just knock it out. And I put together maybe 20 videos. They edit them. They post them for me. That's it. That's what I'm doing. And what do I talk about? Shayla shit. It's just stuff that like is on my mind, I got to make a video today about being an underdog. And then should make a video tomorrow about the stages of learning. I don't know. It's just it's just all the stuff that I've been working on because, guys, as I said at the beginning of the call, I'm not a natural. My husband is way more of a natural. He is just charisma. People love him. They are drawn to him. Like it's kind of crazy to watch him. And I'm like, dude, I am a trained soldier. Like I have learned how to train for every single thing I do. How do I show up on a conference call? How do I make a cold call? How do I have an appointment? Every skill I have, I've had to fight my ass off to obtain and maintain. And that's why I'm so passionate to teach others, because it's not natural. Naturals generally don't coach because naturals can't even explain why they are the way they are. They just are. So anyway, stick with it, whatever it is that you believe in, or just ask a successful person, get a strategy and stick with it. And don't lift your head up for another 12 weeks. Do not lift your head up for 12 weeks.
So I'm gonna say a few things, and then I'm gonna have you close with some closing thoughts. But literally, when I ask people what do they want to learn about, what came in dead last was lead conversion training. And I'm super pumped. Dale Vermillion created a conversion training program using MortgageCoach, and how to use it with realtors, and how to use alerts, sales boomerang alerts with realtors. And it was just funny, like to me, that training your ass off, and very intentional training, like sales training, upgrade your sales skills. Like, guys, everything you want comes down to how good at you are at those things. And it's not only how good are you at actually performing, but the better you get at performing, the better you are up here. The more confident you are. And the more confident you are, the more you'll do it. So get out there, guys. Like, what came in last should be first place. And by the way, if you want to check out that Dale Vermillion sales training, you go to SavageInsights.com. It's one of the links on there. Check it out. So Shayla, we got 2 minutes left. I want to remind everybody, Shayla's got a training this Thursday. I put a link down below. What's that training called, by the way? What is it that you're calling it?
I think it's
I see it. Play to win with Shayla Gifford. Understanding margins and have a plan. So guys, make sure you check that out. Shayla, closing thoughts. We got 2 minutes. Any closing thoughts for everyone?
This is the greatest industry. We really do something that matters. I used to sell vitamins and weight loss pills, and while I believe helping nutritionally really matters, but like we are building generational wealth, and people really are confused about this subject. They really need us. And so I keep going back to like, what else in the world could I do as an average person with an above average desire to not only change the direction of my family? I've been able to live abroad. I spent the last 3 years living in Spain. I've been able to take wild adventures. I just in February did a trip around the world, 7 continents in 7 days with a group of military. Radical. Yeah, God, I've not even posted about it because I don't even know how to unload from like this incredible trip. I just, none of that would be possible if I didn't learn these skills. I always think it's like, God, calling 40 realtors every Monday and adding value and putting myself out there to be rejected and doing it over and over and over again has empowered this. Like what? I promise. The industry is what it is right now. There's only so much market share. There's only so many transactions and so many listings. And there's a lot of people fighting for a really small pie. Over time, there'll be less and less people and the pie will slowly grow. I 100% know that because the reality is consumers are spending a ton of money, racking up more and more and more debt, calling for HELOCs every day at 10.5%. And it's going to get to the point where somebody will say, look, I'm spending $4,200 a month on my home equity line of credit, my credit cards, my car payment, my house payment, but my wealth is locked in my house and I don't like my kitchen. So it doesn't matter that I have a 3% interest rate. I'm literally forced to make a change. They will sell, release their equity, and they'll go from a $2,200 house payment to wiping out their debt and having a $3,700 house payment. And they'll still be $500 a month better for it. But it's going to take time for us to get there. Because, it's like the traffic jam story I shared on Instagram the other day. It's like once momentum happens, it goes 4 miles an hour, then 11 miles an hour, then 40 miles an hour. and we're just in the traffic jam. But if you stay on the road, you will make it to your destination. If you continue to work on your skills, you will be more effective in everything you do. But don't judge the results right now. Judge your effort and your energy, your state, your story, and your strategy, and fight your ass off to keep your story abundant and positive, and fight your ass off to hang out with people that are doing the same, because it's so much easier if you're surrounded by people that are on the road, that have a good attitude, that are blasting their music, that are like, we're going there regardless, we'll get there, versus the car full of people that are bitching and moaning. I don't know, but you get to pick which car you're in with the people you're in and the people you surround yourself with. Don't allow the negativity. We don't have the luxury of a lack thought.
Wow, such a great closing thought. I want to remind folks, if you want to learn more about Trust Engine and you want to learn more about the things I've talked about, go to SavageInsights.com. There's links there. Also, I want to push everyone. I have launched a new nonprofit with Kristen Messerly and Todd Bookspan called First Home IQ. We absolutely are going to educate 5 million kids between that age around home ownership, 16 old enough to drive, 21 old enough to drink, to make sure that they have a new thought on what it means to own a home. And Shayla, by the way, tell me what you think about this ethos. It's called Own Your Future. First Home IQ, Own Your Future. I think that's an ethos that the next generation would love to do. So hope you'll be an advisor to that mission with us, Shayla. And
I will. And we talked about that, Dave. The reality is that the whole world is pushing people to rent everything, to make 4 payments on the jeans that they buy, to make 18 payments on the Louis Vuitton bag. And I mean, this is what we're having to fight against, to help people go, no, you need to own it. We need to go back to those original values that we've had in our country. So
well,
own your
Shayla,
future.
That little 2-minute video you gave me was part of the inspiration to come up with that tagline of Own Your Future.
Awesome.
So thank you for everything you do. Super grateful for you. Hope everybody got value. Give this a like. If you're in Zoom, give Shayla a heart or whatever's on your mind. And take care, everyone. This is a wrap. See you later.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers.